Welcome to Leadership Moments.
In every great leader's life, there are pivotal moments that shape their character, test their resilience, and awaken their vision.
Together, we'll uncover the invaluable lessons hidden within these transformative moments.
Well, welcome to Navigating Conflict, the episode where we delve deep into the art of resolving conflicts in both personal and professional spheres. I'm Tracy Ann, and I'm here with my insightful co-host, Stacey. Today, we're going to embark on a journey to explore the intricacies of conflict resolution, why it happens, its impact, and how we can navigate it effectively.
I am super excited about this episode, Tracy Ann. Conflict is an inevitable part of human interaction, but it doesn't have to be destructive. And understanding its roots and learning constructive ways to address it can transform conflicts into opportunities for growth and innovation.
You know, Stacey, you're spot on. Let's just start by dissecting the anatomy of conflict. From my experience, conflict arises from misunderstandings, differing priorities, unmet expectations. And let's not overlook the role of emotions in fueling conflicts. Emotions can escalate tension, cloud our judgment, and really makes the resolution even more challenging.
So true. Developing self-awareness and emotional intelligence is crucial for navigating conflicts personally. And you know, Tracy Ann, you and I are both certified in emotional intelligence because we recognize how important this is to be successful as a leader. So we help teach this with our clients all the time. Techniques like mindfulness, meditation, or journaling can help us regulate our emotions and approach conflicts with a clear mind.
Absolutely. And one thing we know from being practitioners in EQ, Stacey, is this power of empathy. And sometimes that's empathy towards others. Sometimes actually it's empathy towards ourselves, quite frankly, you know, but putting ourselves in someone else's shoes allows us to see things from a different perspective, and it helps us find that common ground that's necessary.
Right. Transitioning from personal conflict resolution to managing conflicts within teams, leaders play a pivotal role in fostering a culture of open communication and collaboration. Leaders should create an environment where team members feel safe to express their concerns and ideas, and active listening and really trying to understand what the underlying concerns are key when you're doing this.
100%. And we know there's going to be conflict always in our life. It's like it's never ending. Okay. So let's delve into some practical strategies for resolving conflicts with teams. Role-playing exercises, for instance, that can really help team members understand each other's viewpoints and practice the constructive communication. Implementing formal conflict resolution methodologies, such as the Thomas-Kilman conflict mode instrument or the Harvard negotiation projects principle, can provide a framework for guiding discussions and reaching win-win solutions.
Absolutely. These methodologies offer a structured approach to conflict resolution, helping teams navigate even the most challenging situations with clarity and fairness. And remember, conflict resolution is not just about addressing immediate issues, it's about building stronger relationships and enhancing team dynamics in the long run.
That's right. That's exactly right. Let's just dive into these two methodologies for our audience, just because they may not know them, and it would be a good refresher anyway. The Harvard Negotiation Project was founded in 1979 by Roger Fisher, William Urey, and Bruce Patterson. It was a research initiative focused on negotiation and conflict resolution. The project's work resulted in several influential books and frameworks, including Getting to the Yes, and Negotiating Agreement Without Giving In. And while it's not defined as a set of principles attributed to the Harvard Negotiation Project, the approach outlined in Getting to Yes offers the framework for principled negotiation. And there are 7 key principles derived from this approach. Stacey, do you want to tell our listeners what those 7 are?
Yeah, that'd be great. So the first one is separate people from the problem. Focus on the substantive issues at hand rather than letting emotions or personal relationships cloud your judgment. Addressing concerns and interests directly while maintaining respect for all parties involved can help prevent conflicts from becoming personal. So you have to separate the two. Number 2, focus on interest, not positions. Instead of stubbornly sticking to specific positions or demands, identify the underlying interest and needs driving each party's stance. By understanding the motivations behind each party's position, negotiators can explore creative solutions that meet everyone's interest.
One of my favorites, by the way. Love that one.
Yes, totally agree. Number 3, generate options for mutual gain. Encourage brainstorming and collaboration to generate a variety of potential solutions. The goal is to expand the pie rather than simply dividing it, seeking outcomes that satisfy the interest of all parties involved. All right, number 4, insist on objective criteria. Base decisions on objective standards or criteria rather than subjective judgments or arbitrary measures. By referring to external benchmarks or precedents, negotiators can justify their position and build credibility, fostering trust and agreement. Number 5, maintain BATNA, which means best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Assess the alternatives available if negotiations fail to reach a satisfactory agreement. Knowing your BATNA provides leverage and helps determine your bottom line, empowering negotiators to negotiate from a position of strength. Number 6, use fair and transparent processes. Ensure that negotiation processes are fair, transparent, and inclusive. Establish clear ground rules, communicate openly, and involve all relevant stakeholders to build trust and legitimacy. And then we have number 7, which is focus on long-term relationships. Recognize the importance of maintaining positive relationships even in the face of disagreement or conflict. Prioritize mutual respect, understanding, and collaboration to lay the foundation for future interactions. You know, Tracy Ann, I just have to say that a lot of these feel like they're common sense when you read through them, but we need them to remind ourselves because when our emotions take over, our common sense sometimes is amiss.
That's it. That's exactly right. And it's building the muscle. You and I spoke about that out in Charlotte last week. A lot of what Stacey and I are talking about, whether it's on the podcast or whether it's when we do our speaking engagements or even when we're coaching, it's things we know. But when you start to look at behavioral and consistency and building skill, it's all about building that muscle. So if you don't consistently do it in a certain way, then you forget it. And so that's why the 7 principles that Stacey just went through are so important. Let's just be clear, though, these principles are not rigid, but they are guiding concepts that inform a collaborative and principled approach to negotiation and conflict resolution, which is why I think they're so valuable, because it is a framework that you can follow. And when you apply these principles, negotiators can navigate conflicts more effectively, they build up more durable agreements, and they strengthen those relationships over time, which is really where you want to get to.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And as you recall, that was one of the frameworks. And you mentioned earlier in the episode that there's 2 that we were going to talk about today. So the second one is also known as the Thomas-Kilman Conflict Mode Instrument, or the TKI, which is widely used for assessing an individual's behavior in conflict situations. It was developed by Kenneth W. Thomas and Ralph H. Kilman in the 1970s. The TKI provides insights into how individuals approach conflict and make decisions about resolving it. The instrument is based on 2 dimensions of behavior: assertiveness, which is the degree to which an individual seeks to satisfy their own concerns, and cooperativeness, which is the degree to which an individual seeks to satisfy concerns of others. Tracy Ann, can you elaborate on the TKI for our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. The TKI identifies these sort of 5 primary conflict handling modes. I don't know whether anyone has been through the variety of exercises on this. I know I have, but it's very interesting because you can figure out whether a team is what we call sort of a high collaborative team, a more assertive team, if you want to call it that. The first one is competing, which is assertive and uncooperative. Now, this mode involves pursuing one's own concerns at the expense of others. It may be appropriate when quick, decisive action is needed or when unpopular decisions must get made. The second one is what we call collaborating, and that is assertive and cooperative. In this mode, individuals attempt to find solutions that satisfy the concerns of all parties. And collaboration involves open communication, brainstorming, and mutual respect, which often results then in a win-win outcome. The third one is compromising. So this is the intermediate assertiveness and cooperativeness. This involves seeking middle ground where each party gives up something to reach a mutually acceptable solution. We see that a lot of sort of in more of your vendor partner relationships where you've got an agreement and you want to negotiate and each party wants a little bit of something and then you get to a compromise. And it's that compromise that can be effective when time is limited or in this case, what you just mentioned, when you're trying to maintain a very important relationship. The fourth one is avoiding unassertive and uncooperative. This involves your sidestepping, you're postponing the conflict, you're often withdrawing from the situation or you're avoiding the confrontation altogether. You're just not addressing it at all. And that avoidance may be appropriate when the issue is trivial or when emotions are running high. Okay. And then the fifth one, the last one, is accommodating. This is unassertive, cooperative. And when individuals prioritize the concerns of others over their own, they often may be self-sacrificing or yielding to the wishes of others. Accommodation can help maintain harmony in relationships, but may lead to one-sided outcomes. So that's my caution. Typically in this situation, the parties that I would say sort of don't feel that they've received any value feel that they have been slighted. So may lead to one-sided outcomes, which in fact may actually lead to further conflict. So Stacey, that's all 5.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Tracy Ann. And the TKI provides individuals and teams with insights into their preferred conflict handling styles and offers strategies for effectively managing conflicts based on situational needs. That's what I love about it, is you can tailor it for you. So by understanding their own tendencies and those of others, individuals can enhance their communication skills, build stronger relationships, and navigate conflicts more effectively.
That's right. And I think both of these, if you aren't aware of them, look into them because they're very valuable when you're looking at how do I start preparing myself to just manage this a little bit. There's some people that are really good at it. There's others that certainly need a little bit more practice. So now let's get into some practical advice on how to manage a conflict conversation effectively. Stacey, do you want to kick us off?
Absolutely. Managing a conflict conversation effectively requires careful preparation, active listening, empathy, and a willingness to collaborate on finding solutions. All of those can be very difficult when you have to think about all of them at once. So, to get started, prepare yourself for the conversation. Now, prepare yourself by taking some time to reflect on your own emotions, biases, and objectives related to the conflict. Clarify your goals for the conversation. What do you hope to achieve? What outcomes are you seeking? Consider the other person's perspectives and potential concerns as well. Think through what you think you understand versus what you do not understand as it relates to the other person's concerns. What questions could you ask the other person to understand better and try to get a win-win situation? You must consider both sides and admit to yourself what you don't understand or know.
Yeah, spot on. And along with that, one thing is make sure to choose the right time and the right place. Even if your emotions are running high, don't risk it. Select a neutral and private setting where both parties feel comfortable, there's no distraction. Timing is crucial. Avoid initiating the conversation when either party is stressed or preoccupied, or, as I said, you may be feeling a high sense of pressure or emotion. And when you have the conversation, set the stage. Begin the conversation by expressing your intention to address the conflict constructively to find a solution. You establish those ground rules for the discussion. Maintaining the respect is important, listening without interrupting, focusing on the solution rather than the blame, and definitely keeping yourself in check for sure. Anything else you can think of, Stacey?
I think an essential piece of advice is practicing active listening.
Big one.
Listen
Yeah.
attentively to the other person's perspective without interrupting or formulating your response prematurely. I've even gone to the point, and if you're watching the video version of this, I will literally put my finger over my mouth while I'm listening to them because that stops me from talking and makes sure that I'm listening. So, you want to demonstrate empathy by acknowledging their feelings and concerns, even if you disagree with them. Use reflective listening techniques by paraphrasing to confirm your understanding of the viewpoint. And when the time is right, express your perspective during the conversation. Finding the right timing is key there. Clearly articulate your own feelings, needs, and concerns related to the conflict. Use I statements to take ownership of your emotions and experiences without blaming or accusing the other person. If you are responding with the word you, you're not doing it right. It is about what I am feeling, I need, and what I know. Be honest and transparent about your intentions and desired outcomes for the conversation as well.
Stacey, you really hit on something that I think is so important. I'm going to tell you, when I'm in a conversation and it's heated or it's conflict, it's difficult to not butt in, especially if you don't agree with what someone's saying. I know that's a tendency I have is I lose patience because I don't feel like the conversation is going anywhere. So I would just be mindful that when you're in those conversations, especially if you don't disagree, you have to control your response. You have to control your patience. Because if you're not a very patient person like me, you have to, as Stacey said, put your finger over your mouth to stop yourself from butting in. It's a fantastic trick, and I'm taking you up on that because I've never done that before. The other thing is you got to seek common ground. You've got to look for areas of agreement or shared interests, or you serve as it serves as that foundation for sort of finding the solution. Explore the underlying needs, the motivation, what's driving the other person's position. Brainstorm together to generate creative options that address both parties' concerns and interests. You will need to manage emotions through this. You've got to remain calm. You've got to remain composed. You have to remain respectful. As I said, even if your emotions are running high or you don't have patience like me, okay, you've got to take breaks if necessary to cool off or regain perspective. I mean, I know I've been in a conversation where I've said, okay, we're not getting anywhere. Let's leave it where it is. Let's spend time, come back tomorrow when we're in a better frame of mind and address it. Because if you're not going to get anywhere and it's just going to go around in a conversation because it's just too triggered, you've got to slow down and use techniques like deep breathing or visualization to manage stress. Stay focused on the conversation. That's the key.
Yeah, it's all about that self-awareness and knowing when you need to stop that conversation. If you need to stop it, that is okay. And actually, that shows more respect in doing that. So that's a really great point, Tracy Ann. The objective here is to explore solutions and reach agreement. Collaborate with the other person to evaluate potential solutions and negotiate mutually acceptable terms. Focus on objective criteria, fairness, and the long-term implications of the proposed solutions. Be flexible and willing to compromise without sacrificing your core interest and values. Knowing that going in is the most important part. Once an agreement is met, clarify any action steps, deadlines, or accountability measures. Schedule a follow-up meeting to check in on your progress and address any lingering issues. Take time to reflect on the conversation and identify lessons learned for future conflict management situations. That's so important because you're so thankful that you've got through it. So important to take that time later on and say, okay, what could I have done better? How could I have prepared myself better? What could I have said during that conversation? What can I still do now moving forward, knowing that you're going to have a follow-up with that person? So all things to think about.
Yeah. Stacey, the other thing I think you and I would agree on, just based on some of the stuff we're talking about around resilient leadership, how you manage conflict, you will be judged on that as a leader. People will look at that and go, is this a mature leader in terms of how they've managed it? Have they stayed calm? Are they managing the conflict the appropriate way? Now, look, none of us are perfect, but it's something we can all continue to work on, because here's the reality. We will have conflict in our personal life and our professional life. It's just something you're never going to not live with. Getting really good at it is really important. If we follow those basic principles of have that conversation with empathy, respect, a commitment to collaboration, as leaders, we can effectively manage conflicts. And more importantly, we build those stronger relationships with others so that even when conflict arises, it actually becomes a conduit to actually having a stronger partnership with that person. Because it's fine to have a difference of opinion. It's about where do you get to after you've had that difference of opinion. So this is a topic of discussion with many of our coaching clients. And just being able to rationalize, walk through it, prepare for it, which is a big one. And in our book coming out very soon, Leadership Navigator, we've included a whole section on this and including activities to really help you build up the skill as a leader and also on your teams. So that is a wrap for today's episode of Navigating Conflict. We hope you found this discussion valuable and practical. Anything you want to say, Stacey?
I just want to thank everyone for tuning in, and remember to let us know what topics you want to hear and how we can continue to provide you all the leadership insights and practical advice. So go to leadershipmomentspodcast.com, submit some information to us, reach out to us. Your feedback is so important to us. Thank you for listening. And that concludes another episode of Leadership Moments. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights in what we shared today. Remember, leadership is not defined solely by titles or positions, but by the choices we make and the moments that shape us.
Embrace the challenges that come your way. They may be the very moments that propel you toward greatness. We'd love to hear your thoughts and stories as well. Connect with us on our website at leadershipmomentspodcast.com or through social media on Instagram at @be the game changer.
And Stacey Castor _. Remember, your leadership moment could be just around the corner, waiting for you to seize it. This is Stacey Castor, and what doesn't challenge you won't change you.
This is Tracy Ann Palmer, and be the change you wish to see in the world.